I had one particular young man who was having real trouble getting control of my inventory system. And I finally, after a couple months of working with him, got him to come around, and things were good. And so one Friday, I sat down to write the note. Now, some Fridays were more difficult than others. You're sitting there going, "Dear Lieutenant, thank you so much for showing up most days this week in some semblance of uniform and not actually setting the building on fire." You know, you try to get more positive than that. And in this case, once I saw this young man turn the corner, I saw that tipping point, I wrote him a note. "Dear Petty Officer Lawrence, thank you so much for making the effort to make the changes that are needed in this job to be very successful. I know change is really hard, and I appreciate the effort. Thank you so much. Please keep it up. Respectfully, Commander Kelly." Sealed the envelope, put it on his blotter. Do you remember blotters? You know, blotters? And went home for the weekend. And he came in first thing Monday morning, and he held up that note. And he looked at me and he said, "Ma'am, is this a joke?" And I said, "No, it's not a joke." He said, "You're doing great." He goes, "Huh." Walked out. I thought, well, that was the waste of a $2.95 Hallmark card. And I didn't think too much of it. And he continued to get better, and we worked really well together. And so I went on to another job, he went on to another job, I went on to another job, he went on to another job, and I was walking through the spaces at CINCPAC Fleet in Hawaii, the Commander-in-Chief Pacific, and I see Petty Officer Lawrence sitting there. I'm like, "Hey, Petty Officer Lawrence, great to see you. How's your wife? How's your 2 kids? How's your 2 dogs?" Because you know I remember the dogs. And there sitting on his desk was the note. Now, he had carried that note with him for 5 years. And ladies and gentlemen, that was a huge, humbling leadership moment for me, because it tells me that people are truly underappreciated and undervalued, and when they feel valued, that they're more engaged. And so it was a great learning lesson for me.